Welcome back to Fourth and Favre. This is episode 7. We have some big things coming on. Maybe our podcast, you can find it on a network. Some details to be announced. But Brett, the number 7, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. What's up with the number 7?
I'm afraid you're going to tell me.
I am. There's a couple things. One is Tom Brady, and we're going to talk about the top 3 quarterbacks of all time. That's going to be our Hail Mary question. I'm kind of giving away the final question last. But in the Bible, 7 is a number of completion. So if for those that believe in the word, believe in God, believe in the Bible, every time the number 7 comes up, it means that God's completed something, whether it come 6 days rest on the 7th, Jericho, right? They went on around 6 days. On the 7th day, it fell. It's a significant number there. And it's my favorite number. I was born January 7th. So, Brett, I'll go ahead and take that signed football I never got when I was a kid in the mail.
I was going to say, do I have to give you a present?
That fake. I had to fake a Brett Favre signature. But speaking of that, how far can you still throw right now?
Well, that's a good question, David. I have not thrown like I actually this young man wanted me to throw to him to get some video for some tape to show he's trying to transfer and play tight end somewhere. And he asked me if I would throw to him. And I was like, oh, geez. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually had a legitimate throwing session, but I made it through. And I didn't make him look too bad, I don't think. But I probably have got one pass that would be maybe 65 yards. I think I could get 165. I may have to go get in the cold tub afterwards, but I think I could do 65.
Brett, I think the bigger question here is, could you outthrow a community college quarterback that has a hosting a show called Fourth and Favre, initials D and K? Could you outthrow him right now?
Boy, I don't know who you're talking about, but I would sure hope I could do it. I could do it. I'm pretty certain that I can do it.
Brett, when I see you, next time I see you, we'll film it and we'll post it.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
And if I get embarrassed, I'll take all the hate. It's all
If I
good.
get embarrassed, we're done with the show.
It's game over. Speaking of game over, I said it a few weeks back. Ohio State would go ahead and win the national championship. I didn't see anyone beating them, including Indiana. I'm eating crow right now. Indiana comes in with the upset, and I didn't think, Brett, I was watching this game. I didn't think Indiana was going to win it. I thought Coach Signetti called a crucial timeout in the beginning of the second half. They had Ohio State 3rd and 26. I'm like, why are you calling this timeout in the third quarter? They pull out I would literally say this was an upset. I would have just flopped them 1 and 2. What were your thoughts on the game?
Well, I'll say this: Ohio State still can win the national championship, but I don't know if I've ever seen a run like Indiana has made this year. Unbelievable. Coach Signetti, that team, they're playing with the utmost confidence. I mean, if you think back just a few weeks ago, I think it was Penn State where they had to rally to win on the last drive, and their quarterback made tremendous throws. Their guys made unbelievable catches, and they're just strapping. They're well coached, obviously, and they have really good players and a couple of players that are elite. But they're playing with so much confidence right now. They're fun to watch. I mean, how can you not pull for them? Yeah, obviously, if you're an Ohio State fan, you don't. But what they've done this year is remarkable. And I'm not going to say they can't win the national championship, but I would not bet against them.
It's their first national ranking at number 1 in the AP poll. Also, they had the most losses in the major conferences before Signetti came on. So, I don't know what Signetti did to reignite that, but what does it take? Because you look at your alma mater, Southern Miss. What do you want to see there? How could that Signettiness be brought down to Southern Miss, or who would you like to see there?
Well, yeah, our coach, as we record this, I think the press conference is going to be an hour or two from now, and he's going to Memphis as the new head coach at Memphis. And we've only had Coach Huff for this season. He did a remarkable job. We had one win last year. We're bowl eligible this year. Almost got into the championship game. So Coach Huff did a wonderful job, but he's leaving. I would love to see our offense coordinator, Blake Anderson, become our next head coach. Uh, a very good coach. Uh, I think he's got the right amount of discipline, but also put his arm around you and when needed, and his offensive mind is extremely bright. So I hope Blake is our next head coach.
Brett, let's say Coach Blake Anderson becomes head coach, right? He takes Southern Miss to the top 10, and then USC comes calling, Penn State comes calling, Florida State comes calling, and the players do it. They're jumping around, and he leaves. I mean, we're in this era where there's no loyalty anymore. What can you do to prevent that?
I think you just gotta, it's the sign of the times right now. Whether you like it or not, I don't particularly like it, but we have to accept it. And Coach K, I've said this in conversations about this uh, state of college athletics, not just football, but Coach K, for years, he would coach, and then the next year it was basically a whole new crop because they all went pro. Maybe one guy was a holdover. The next year they all left, and he did it over again. Um, and that's kind of what we're seeing. The only difference would be the coaches are leaving more frequent, and it is what it is. Like it or not, it's where we are in college athletics right now, and it's it's about how well you can do now as a player or as a coach, and then move on to bigger and better things. And you're right, there's no loyalty, but again, you know, it's just the way things are now.
It seems like, Brett, to be honest with you, there's a correlation between what's going on, whether it's in college to real life. We talk about this loyalty where a lot of people aren't that loyal. We're in this TikTok, Netflix, YouTube generation where everything's fast and quick. I'm thinking there's a direct correlation between that and then what we're seeing today. Do you think that there is some type of correlation between I mean, think about days past where guys probably would have bled blood, sweat, and tears for you and taken a bullet for you, whereas nowadays, I mean, you have coaches talking about players, players talking about coaches, but is there a real life analogy here?
I don't know. I think that's more a matter of opinion. Um, what you're exposed to, and there's some people that don't watch YouTube. There's some people that don't have TikTok. I am one of those. But you know, again, a matter of opinion. But I think we're in a you know presently in this world or this country, it's about how many clicks you can get immediately. Like, what can I do to get the most followers? And it's sort of like what we just talked about. It is what it is, and it's more about how popular can I get and instantaneously, um, rather than really good content or um, it's just it's the wild west at its best right now.
And everyone has a voice, and the thing was 15, 20, 30 years ago, people couldn't just get on their iPhone or computer and be a keyboard warrior and say whatever they wanted, right? You needed a platform now. I mean, it's anybody can say anything. I think one of our moderators, someone says something negative, we get negativity, and I told them to direct them to say, "Hey, you have options." I mean, that's the good thing is like you have options of where you go to. And speaking of options, Brett, the options in the NFL are starting to look a little slimmer for some, and then for others, I think it's a little bit wider open than I thought it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, I would have never thought I would say Denver Broncos right now where we're at, along with the New England Patriots. When we talk about Drake May, how he's playing, and Vrabel's doing an excellent
Yeah.
job for former player. Oh, that's my two kind of surprising teams. We saw Detroit beat the Cowboys. I just don't think the Cowboys will be there. But did you think we'd be saying Denver Broncos right now?
Well, the one that you left out was one of my biggest rivalries as a Packer. That's the Bears. Big game today. Packers Bears in Lambeau. Lo and behold, the Bears are leading the division. But they step into Lambeau, tough place to play. Caleb Williams is playing well, but they're running the football exceptionally well. They're playing stingy defense. And like them or not, you got to give them their due. I mean, they're scrappy. Green Bay, on the other hand, I think on paper is a better team. Maybe the record doesn't indicate that, but it's going to be a tough place to go in and beat the Packers. I I think that I think they split. They still have to play in Chicago. I'm pretty sure. I think they split. I think they lose today in Green Bay, and then they win in Chicago. And I do think the Bears are as close to legitimate 8-3 or 9-3 as you can get. But they kind of slipped under the radar. Same thing with Denver. I watched them really intently this past week, and they're good. Of course, they're well coached. Sean Payton's one of the better coaches that ever graced the field. And Drake May in New England, I think they're legitimate and they're well coached. I played against Vrabel many and many a times, and he was an exceptionally smart player. He was good, but he was smart, and he's taking that into his coaching, and he's got him playing well. So you're right. There's some teams that are going the wrong direction, but then there's others that I'll say this, and my memory probably doesn't serve me well, but I don't remember a time where it was so wide open, like NFC, AFC. It's anyone's guess. There's not any one team that is running away with it, especially, the Chiefs, I expect them to be there in the end. They're competing for it. But right now, they're just kind of another team. The Eagles, our last two Super Bowl winners, they're, they're fighting to make ends meet as well. So, it could be Seattle. It could be New England. It could be Denver. It could be Chicago. Who knows? And I think as a fan, that's what you're looking for, more parity than we've had in recent years. And we've got it.
You think about Chicago, though, Brendan, we've talked about them. We gave them some shine a couple weeks back. But the games, I would say about 5 of the 8 or 9 that they won, it's like mishaps that it's a game of inches, but it just seems like they just are able to get over the hump. I don't know if that's gonna work in the long haul. I mean, Caleb Williams, he's still developing. He's exceeded our expectations as we've had off the
Yeah.
record. I agree with you. I think that Green Bay will see them winning this, and I think Jordan goes and gets it done in Chicago as well. But like you said, the time will tell. But I guess the greater question, what fans may want to know, is when you get down to the end of the season, right, what is it about a team that takes them to that next level of not just getting to the playoffs, but winning that game? Is it a grittiness? Is it coaching? Is it camaraderie? Is it chemistry? What's that extra thing to get over the hump?
Well, I think all of the things you just mentioned are very important. But I think you have to think about this, and you said this, uh, several minutes ago, that you're not really sold on the Bears because they're winning by mishaps or. But think about it this way: how many times have you, in a conversation with other people, or you hear a conversation, or maybe you hear commentators or analysts say they've got to learn to win those games.
Hmm.
The ball doesn't always bounce your way, but you got to find a way to win. And when good teams, it seems like the ball bounces their way or the tip ball falls in favor of them rather than the other team. So, like it or not, whether you're a Bears fan or not, they're opportunistic and they're winning those games rather than losing them. Uh, and to me, that's the mark of a good team. You don't play your best football, but you win. Uh, and I'm sure that locker room, that coaching staff thinks that they can get a lot better, as does LaFleur and the Packers, as does Denver. Everyone should always strive to be better. But I think Chicago is winning those games that in recent years they lost. The ball would, they would fumble and it would go to the other team. Now they fumble, it comes back to them. So, when you're a good team, I mean, everybody fumbles, everybody throws picks, everybody has penalties. But overcoming that and finding a way to win is the key. And who cares what it looks like? And I think it's not necessarily pretty, but it's a win. And wins are really what is really the only thing that matters.
And we're seeing more and more former players coaching, right? We talked about Vrabel, and you played against Vrabel, but Dan Campbell with the Lions. Do you think that the former NFL guys that are coaching, that there's something they have might be better than Andy Reid, who we think the world of
Yeah.
Andy Reid, but what is it about the former players that resonates with players more?
Well, I think more often than not, a former player does not have the success as a coach. Uh, yeah, Vrabel's having a lot of success. Dan Campbell's had success. And, there's other coaches that you could point to as well over the history of the league. I know this: being a player does not guarantee you're going to be a good coach, but it does give you an insight to how the game is played, what's the daily routines like, the, the things that you would change if you were a coach, some good, some bad. Uh, but again, it doesn't guarantee you're a good coach. I think a good coach is always surrounded by a great staff. I don't know of many head coaches that were really good that had success that had a crappy staff. So it's always important to surround yourself with people that can, not correct you when you're wrong, but um, that can elevate your game as a coach to another level. And you hear that with players. Like, that guy makes everyone else around him better. I think the coaching staff is, and the head coach is no different than the players. You're only as good as your staff. And, you know, Vrabel's got a good staff. Dan Campbell's got a good staff. And his former coordinator, the offense coordinator, is the head coach in Chicago, doing an exceptional job. So uh, that that tree will probably get a little bit bigger and more elongated as time goes by. But you're only as good as your staff and your players. So we will see how that plays out this year.
Brett, we have a huge Hail Mary question, so that's going to be next. But before we get to the Hail Mary question, is We think about these winning championships. There's this championship mentality. Cam Newton said that he'd rather have MVPs over Super Bowl wins. And shout out to Cam Newton. He actually put Fourth and Five up on his screen a year ago when we were going to run this. So he has nothing negatives to say. But Cam has that idea that MVPs are worth more. In your opinion, would you rather have an NFL MVP or a Super Bowl championship ring?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have 3 MVPs, and I would trade them all for championships. Uh,
Wow.
to me, I played. Hey, the money was great. Don't get me wrong, but I would play for $200. I love to play the game, and I played the game to win. And people say, "What do you think about the most, the Super Bowl win or Super Bowl loss?" I think about the Super Bowl loss, and how many opportunities that we had, almost opportunities to go back. To me, it was only about winning and getting to the big dance and winning that. And as pleased as I am about my career, I wish I would have won more championships or been a part of more championships.
Would you trade 2 of your MVPs to win that one Super Bowl game?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why would I
2 for
not?
1, Brett? 2 for 1, Brett?
I would trade 2 for that one, for which would have made my second Super Bowl win. Absolutely, without a doubt.
But then,
I asked, why would you not?
because you're the only 3-time back-to-back-to-back, and we talked about this, 3-peat NFL MVP, so no one else can say that but you.
What does that give me? Nothing. Nothing. Like, okay, great. But I would much rather have 2 Super Bowl wins.
Brett, let's take a little bit more time with the top quarterbacks of all time. People are loving this. Our take where the wide receivers went viral, where you had Jerry Rice 1 and you had Sweetness #1 for running backs. Quarterback position, you can put yourself, you could do one with you in it.
Yeah.
You could do one without it. Me and you will start with number 3. I'll start with my 3rd greatest quarterback of all time. And to me, the 3rd was to me the most difficult by far and away. I put Peyton Manning as my number 3rd quarterback of all time. I look at his body of work. I know he switched teams from the Colts to the Broncos. I just think he did enough to make it to the top 3 of all time. Give me your number 3.
My top 3 are easy. Number 3 is Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, he's got 4 Super Bowls. Tom Brady's first because he's got 7.
We're going to get to number 1. But
I know, but I mean, it's all about Super Bowls.
Okay.
So that's my number 3.
Here's my question to you about Bradshaw, Brett, which I would kind of disagree, because I don't think Bradshaw could play right now in 2025.
Well, none of us could. We're old.
No. I think, no, I'm saying in his prime, I don't think he could play right. You could play in any era, Brett, right? But Bradshaw.
Well, it's a matter of opinion, but Bradshaw can play. Look, and I couldn't stand Bradshaw, the Steelers, growing up. I was a Cowboys fan. Roger Staubach was my guy. And when they would lose to the Steelers, I just wanted to strangle Bradshaw. But give the guys due. He did what was needed to win the game. I mean, they didn't put up fancy numbers, but that was a different era. He was a big, physical, very physical quarterback. Tough. I think he can definitely play today. And again, it's about winning. And maybe his numbers are, modest at best, but the ones that really count are the championships.
Do you think he would play as a star? He would start on one of the 32 teams, or would he play?
Absolutely.
Not back up.
No backup, but absolutely, he'd be a starter.
Okay. My number 2, Brett, is Joe Montana. You said Super Bowls count. He had 4 Super Bowls. Joe Montana, he did have the greatest wide receiver of all time, according to us. We're the experts, Jerry Rice. But Montana, I mean, he didn't look too big. Again, I've never met Joe. He was a little bit before me. I saw highlights of him. But as far as just being able to win games, and he didn't, again, how is he size wise compared to you? Because for the fans out there, I mean, I'm 6'1", and next to you're 6'2", but you're a solid 6'2", 225, right? How is Joe Montana size wise, and do you think that I have a good assessment as him, number two?
Well, he's my number 2 as well. Uh, Super Bowls matter, and he, is second only to our number 1. But I studied Joe when I was in Green Bay my first few years because we ran the same offense. Mike Holmgren was the offense coordinator, in San Francisco for years with Joe Montana, with Steve Young. So I watched a ton of film, and Joe Montana was as cool as the other side of the pillow. He never got rattled. Uh, his arm strength was okay, not nothing fancy. His footwork was spectacular. His accuracy was spectacular. His decision making was spectacular, and he had a good cast around him. So you throw all that in together, and it's like good gumbo. The ingredients fit, and he was as smooth as they get.
Did you ever pick his brain at all when you were playing? Because there was an overlap there, right?
Um, we had some interesting conversations off the field, but not really me picking his brain. We talked about Mike Holmgren and how tough he was on me and how he treated him, and just the West Coast offense. I would ask him pick his brain a little bit about where this came from, why they called it that, things of that nature. But really, an awesome guy, and just a regular guy, even though he was Joe Cool.
Brett, before we get to our number one, right? Our number one quarterback of all time, there's tons of fans that have you as they call it GOAT. I don't know if you know that term, greatest of all
Yeah.
time
Oh yeah.
nowadays. Are you honored when people say, I mean, I see flooded with comments, you're my favorite quarterback. I became a fan because of you. How does that feel when you're people's number one?
Oh, well, I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good. But and I greatly appreciate it. Maybe number one in certain aspects of the game, but the reality is the number one quarterback in the history of the game is Tom Brady. I'm sure your number one is Tom Brady.
Yes.
You got to give the guys credit. I mean, he not only, and he had a good cast around him. Sometimes it wasn't as good as maybe the previous year or the following year, but I was always amazed at how he just never got rattled. It seemed like every decision he made was the right decision, and no matter how much a crunch time throw he needed to make, he made it, and he made it look easy. And it's not easy.
With Tom Brady, you took the words out of my mouth, was number one. I try to fight and claw and not have him number one. I'm like, it's Steve Young, but like who? But you can't argue with what he did. 7
Right.
Super Bowl wins, and he goes and does it with Tampa Bay. Because then there's questions, was it the system or was it Tom that was really that good? I mean, people hated those New England teams, not just their rivals, but there was something
Right.
about the Patriots people don't like, but it's hard to argue with greatness. And with Tom Brady, what do you think is it about him that made him, again, so successful? Because he was a 6th-round pick. I mean, and
Yeah.
we talked about this in Concussed American Dream. If Drew Bledsoe doesn't go down, there is no Tom Brady.
Correct. More than likely. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I think there's guys that have a high football IQ, really high. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, guys that I played with or against on a regular basis, probably as high football IQ. Joe Montana is up there too, where they don't get fooled very easy. Now, take a guy like Aaron, his physical abilities can bail him out of making a bad decision a lot of times. Not that he made bad decisions, but Joe and Tom were not. Joe maybe more so than Tom. Joe had a little more escapability. Tom's not going to beat you with his legs. He's not going to be. When I say he can beat you with his feet, it's not running. It's sidestepping the rush, resetting, calming down, making a perfect throw, perfect read. You blitzing. Very, very rarely did I ever see him get surprised by a blitz or a coverage or a front. And to me, especially in today's game where you see a lot of exotic fronts and blitzes and stunts and things of that nature, and the players are faster and quicker, so reaction times have to be faster and quicker. He made it look like everything was slowed down to a crawl. And to me, that's the mark of a great player. The game around him is chaotic, but he's just very calm.
How close is Mahomes getting to that conversation in the top 10, top 5? Because he has 3 rings. Do you think he's getting close?
He's got 3 rings, and yeah, he gets 1 or 2 more. He jumps the ladder. But he's not quite there yet. That's not a knock at all. I think Patrick would be the first to agree. He wants to win a couple more to solidify his legacy. His legacy is secure, no question, if it ended today. The guy's a tremendous player, a great leader. His playmaking ability is spectacular. But he's still got 4 Super Bowls to win before he can tie or surpass Tom Brady.
Brett, I just want to let you know before we sign off that gumbo mud you were talking about last week cost me some money. I just went on the way back. The car was rattling and Lexus had to go take care of it. So I just wanted to update you. Not that we got
Was
us a
I
mud.
right?
Yeah, you were right.
As always.
I don't know, Brett. If I train hard in the next few weeks and maybe I have a shot. I don't know. I mean, I think in my heyday,
we'll train hard. We'll see.
I think the furthest I ever threw was 60. That was like in peak form.
I could do that. Not so peak form.
Brett, it was good talking with you. Episode 7. We just want to thank the fans that have been tuning in lately and look for us on our new podcasting network. We'll see you next week, Brett.
You got it.